So, let's get to business. So we've been going through this most wonderful text, the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, or the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. We've been doing that for how many months? How many years? How many eons? Shanti?
Less than 1 year.
Okay.
Much less than 6 months. Less than 3 months.
Really?
Yeah, less than 3 months.
Okay. Great.
I think it started in November, October and November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months.
In any case, what we usually do, we do it over a weekend, and usually we have Saturday night and Sunday morning. But since I flew in this morning, always when I plan out my schedule, I kind of think I'm Superman. So my flight got in at 3 a.m. today. So I was like, no problem. I'll teach on Friday night. No waste time, no rest. Anyway, so we have tonight, Friday night, and we have Saturday night. And then I was thinking I'll go back to Sera on Sunday, during the day, and you will go to debate on Sunday night. That's my thought. We'll see. Because not in the best enough. Okay. But anyway, the point is, when we have these 2 sessions over the weekend, what I like to do, because some people haven't come for all the sessions, I try to have the first day a little bit more introductory in terms of especially what is Dharma practice and why, or what is the need to practice Dharma. So I try to talk about that. And that's kind of a general introduction, and then I give a more specific introduction about this text. And I like to give it just by talking about the title of the text. But I've done that many times. Right? Many of you have heard all that. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently today. Okay? We still have to introduce, because those 2 questions that I asked you, thank you for volunteering. And I asked you, what is Dharma? And then I asked you, well, thank you for volunteering. If I asked you, then why do we need to practice Dharma? Right? I wonder how happy I'd be with the answers. So let's see. Okay, I'm a bit sick. I can't explain it. So let's have our 2 great volunteers. So, who wants to go first? Thank you. Yeah. So we talk about Dharma. What is Dharma?
Dharma is something which holds you and in a proper and right path, and which is right to live, the right way of living.
Okay. Should be like you have an answer. You like it? Do you have anything else to add?
Path to live like towards enlightenment.
Okay. So then, why do we need to practice Dharma?
to know who am I?
We need to know what?
Who are we? Who am I?
Oh.
To know about myself.
Yeah.
To live Dharma, to practice Dharma. And then to know what is a good thing, what is negative, what is a positive, all this stuff. Dharma will teach.
Okay. So why do we need to know who we are? I mean, we should be that, right? We don't need Dharma to know that. Right?
It's must to
Ah.
know.
It's a must.
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical. Very skeptical. Okay. Anyway, put you guys on the spot. Who else should know? Who else should know this? You know?
All sentient beings want happiness, none want suffering. And we cannot find that happiness outside. You have to find it within you by training your own mind. Now, Dharma is the mood which helps you to train your mind. It is something which prevents you from falling. It keeps you and shows you the path to reach that happiness.
Dharma is the teaching of the Buddha, I think. Simply put in Buddhist terminology. Dharma has
Yes.
many meanings otherwise, but in Buddhist terminology, it's the teaching of the Buddha.
Yes.
That's why we say we're taking refuge in the Dharma.
But hold on. Not all Dharma is Buddha Dharma.
No, I'm talking about Buddhist terminology.
Yeah,
I said
so I didn't ask what a Buddha Dharma is. Right. This is actually interesting. I mean, Shanti and I, we just were in France for 5-6 weeks. And I was a membership, we was doing a retreat, we were teaching. And he gave this as a thought experiment for us. You know? Do you remember this, Shanti?
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember it perfectly? He said the example of Saint Francis of Assisi, who would go around and he was always chanting God, 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 God. So he was asking the man, is that Buddhism? He didn't tell us the answer. He wanted us to think about it.
Yeah, he's pretty much Buddhist, isn't he? Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is despair, let me shut forth.
So I'm also not going to do that. So it's very, very, very interesting for you to think about. Actually, there was quite a senior nun who then wanted to talk about it later. And I told her with confidence, I said, I have the 100% accurate answer for this. That's correct.
And?
But I'm not going to tell you. Not yet. You tell me what you think. And then I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I think. Okay? I'll get that.
I told you that's what I've understood. Because when we say we're going for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, the Dharma means the teachings of the Buddha. What else does it mean? In Buddhist philosophy, in Buddhist terminology.
Oh no,
In
okay. But
the
here.
Hindu realms and in Sanskrit things, it means a lot of other things too,
So,
including work.
including what?
Work, right? Dharma.
Okay.
Duty.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, in general, the word Dharma actually, I heard that the Sanskrit word actually has 11 meanings. And one of it can just mean phenomena. But even if we take it as what Sadhana was referring to, that which holds you back, from kind of wrong conduct, means a way of training the mind. Even if we just take that sense of it, then other traditions, they have Dharma, right? Even based on the conception of there being a creator God, right? Then in one level, we're all siblings, all God's creation, and therefore be compassionate to love your fellow beings as we're all the children of God. And since we have devotion for God, who we see as like a parent, then what pleases the parent most than to see all the children happy, right? So based on that, definitely there's some Dharma practice that goes on that on a more general level. But I'm going to leave this for you to think about, right? Because there is definitely all Dharma is not necessarily Dharma, right? So then what makes something Dharma, right? What makes something Buddha Dharma? Yeah. Good point. Those who take out, animal sacrifice, for example, right? Thinking that it's an offering to some God, is that Dharma? These are things to think about.
Intention matters then. Intention is the highest consideration.
Okay.
Good question.
Think about this stuff. Okay. So I will. I'm going to use even quotations within Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra to introduce itself. Okay? So you've seen this already, right? So, Sadhana has heard me talk about this quite a lot, so, she touched on a lot of the things that I usually talk about. So the one, which I think is in the first chapter, right? Yes. You can look in the book. 28. Stanza 28. It's on page 5. Although wishing to be rid of misery, they run towards misery itself. Although wishing to have happiness, like an enemy, they ignorantly destroy it. Okay? So who's they?
Us.
Yeah, they is actually us, sentient beings. Okay? So as Simon mentioned, which is actually yes, what I mentioned too, but this is actually one of the key 7 points that Holiness the Dalai Lama always mentions. The fact that we all want happiness and not suffering. Right? That's the very starting point. But now turning to page 36, stanza number 17. even those who wish to find happiness and overcome misery will wander with no aim nor meaning if they do not comprehend the secret of the mind. This is the paramount significance of Dharma. Okay? You should know this. Okay? So yes, we want happiness, we don't want suffering, right? But even though we wish to find happiness and overcome misery, if we don't comprehend the secret of the mind, then we'll wander without aim nor meaning. We won't find the happiness that we seek. We won't be free of the suffering that we wish to be free of if we don't understand this quote-unquote secret of the mind, which is the paramount significance of Dharma. So now, what is the secret of the mind? So there's actually two levels. Now, it's not like a secret, like someone knows a secret and they swore their friends they're not going to tell it. It's not like that. But it's rather, something that is hidden from us, something that we don't have exact knowledge about. That's why we call it secret. But these secrets, well, if we break it into, we can have about two levels. Okay. There's this, and these correspond to two levels of reality: the conventional level of reality and ultimate nature of reality. And so the first secret of the moment on the conventional level is that, hey, actually, our happiness and suffering actually come from our own mind. So, there probably is a quotation here, but in the Dhammapada, it says that the mind is the principle, yeah, and the Soshin Mundudro, and it's the forerunner. Okay. The mind is principle and it's the forerunner. And then I forget the exact quotation, but it's something like, since the mind is the forerunner, and there's some analogies that Buddha gives, like, if just like a body, the shadow follows after the body, and the cart follows after the ox wherever it goes. Right? Similarly, our minds is the forerunner. So when we engage in activities of wholesome states of mind, then happiness will ensue. Whereas if we engage in activities with unwholesome states of mind, then suffering will ensue. So it's this first secret on the conventional level of reality, which actually Shantideva was talking about in the first chapter. That although beings want happiness, right? They destroy it. Like an enemy, they ignorantly destroy it. And the beings want to be free from suffering. They run toward it itself. Why? Because of the fundamental ignorance about the first level of secret of the mind, this thought of karma, right? That from our positive actions come happy results, from our negative actions come negative results. But what make those actions positive or negative? Abad correctly said, the primary is the motivation. But sorry to say, but even with the good motivation, even though you think it's good motivation to kill someone else, to please some kind of God, well, that's actually very heavy, negative, because what is motivating that actually is very heavy ignorance. It's ignorance state of mind that we're engaged. So, but I'm not going to all answer. Okay? So you understand? You? Now, the second secret of the mind actually is getting into the ultimate view of reality, the ultimate nature of reality. That, the way that the mind and all of the phenomena exist. Is not the way that it appears. I don't want to get into the ultimate nature quite yet. But what actually is causing us to circle in samsara is unending, beginningless cycle of uncontrolled rebirth propelled by our karma and afflictions is the fundamental misapprehension of the way ourselves and our exist. Okay? Since again that is hidden to us because the way it appears as if it's truly existent. Yeah? Most of you know, I've heard these terms before. Whether you know what they mean or not, I'm not sure. Yeah. But it appears as if it's objectively there from the side of the object. And then we believe in that appearance to be true. As long as the Buddha says, we totally trust ourselves to the false appearance. And therefore we circle in samsara. So, you see, why we then need Dharma is, well, so we can learn about these two levels of quote-unquote secrets of the mind, so that we can put an end to our suffering. Okay? And so now, the good news is that we all have if you turn back to stanza 4 of the first chapter, you see well, leisure and Dharma are very hard to find, and since they accomplish what is meaningful for humanity, if I do not take advantage of it now, how will such a perfect opportunity come about again? So this leisure and endowment, it's difficult to find. What this is referring to is the precious human rebirth, right? This, perfect opportunity that we have to bring about what is meaningful for humanity. Okay? So, what is meaningful for humanity? Okay, I'll just give you the answers. Okay? Alright. Actually, first let's just consider leisure and endowment. What that means is, in short, is that with this body, mental, physical continuum, that you each have now, where, you have all the perfect conditions to practice Dharma. So of course, there's a list of 18 factors, and get into it. It's freedom for non-human states of existence, where it would be very difficult to practice Dharma. And you also have freedom from 4 human states of existence, where it would be very difficult to practice Dharma. So you can imagine being born in the hell realms, in the animal realm, in the pet realm, or as anyway, all these other states of existence within samsara, very, very difficult to practice Dharma. Either because there's so much suffering that goes on there, in the non-human states, or even in the Deva realm, they're so just engrossed with sense pleasures that it's like they never think to practice Dharma. They're just having a good time all the time. They don't see any faults with the way of existence. Anyway, without getting into all of that, because we've gone through that a lot, the point is, with this body and mind that you have now, you can accomplish what is meaningful for humanity. So now what is that? Okay. What is meaningful for humanity, you can think of in terms of the 3 kind of goals that correspond to 3 levels of Dharma practitioner. Yeah? You can think about this. Okay? So as Atisha wrote in the Map to the Path of Enlightenment, he talks about these 3 Chepi or Purusha, 3 types of beings.
Capability.
3 types of beings, capable beings. Yeah, and the goals, the motivation with which they undertake their Dharma practice. And the first one is to aspire to have a good rebirth in the next life. So this is the minimum bar that Atisha sets for a true Dharma practitioner. Where we have to forego the very fleeting appearances of this life. Yes, of course, with this body and mind, we could just aspire to have as much pleasure and happiness in this life alone. Okay? Well, could do. But all those actions, they don't become Dharma. So the minimum threshold for some Dharma practice is to at least aspire to the next life. But even more than that, is to gain liberation from the whole cycle of rebirth, nirvana, liberation from samsara. Which, by the way, I mentioned that I think it's important to emphasize beginningless samsara. What is that? I don't think so. It's very hard to imagine, actually, beginningless himself, beginningless life. So, whatever problems we have, right, that are really unbearable, right, the ones that we complain to our friends about, we've experienced this, not just once, but countless times. Of course, Nagarjuna, just to give us some help thinking about it. Nagarjuna, in his letter to a friend, he says, if you were to pile up all the bones, from when we've been, killed, right? To pile up all those bones, you make a pile, bigger than Mount Sumaru. So, then you can imagine. You can imagine all the other things. Just think for yourself. Of course, in Nagarjuna's letter to a friend, he gives a few analogies, but you think too. All the tears that we've cried, when our boyfriend has left us, be more than the great ocean. Listen. So, of course, really think about that. Just thinking about that, then you should have this thought come up. I must never ever again be born within samsara. I have to put an end to this right away. Done. Yes? But if that's not enough for you, then add to that. Okay? Add to that. If you don't get liberated in this life, then, remember that great ocean of tears, right? That we cried when my boyfriend left us? Okay? So, if we don't get liberated in this life, the amount of tears we're going to cry in the future, in our samsara rebirth, is going to be even more. Understand? I want to vomit thinking about it. You understand? Do you want to vomit when you think about this? That means you haven't been meditating enough. You understand? You have to really think about this to a point. I'm serious. Like, really, I want to vomit right now. It's like, I feel that. I'm glad I didn't eat something for the past couple hours. It's not just some, Shantideva's text is so nice, I love Shantideva. No. All this stuff, it should be bringing about a real visceral experience with our mental being. You understand? It's a way to change our minds, to transform our minds. So anyway, since they accomplish what's meaningful for humanity, right? We're talking about the 3 ways of being meaningful. Yes? At least getting a good rebirth, at the very least. Then liberation comes from sorrow. But then, okay, I'll just on the second of the 3 things that are meaningful for humanity. Okay? It's telling me that our own personal liberation, right? How important that is. You understand? Now, here again, Namjong gives another analogy. Okay? So, if through meditating in that way about the samsaric sufferings being beginningless, and if we don't take advantage in this life, they'll be endless, okay? Just thinking, and then that thought, oh, I need to get, whatever it takes, I need to get liberation from samsara in this life, right? Okay? So, there's some beings, Shravakas, yeah, Prateka Buddhas, who are striving single-pointedly for that. Okay? Great. I mean, we're not even doing this. Okay? But what is their level of commitment? I mean, how do we know if our level of commitment? Okay. I ask you, hey, Dhanani, are you interested in liberation? Yeah, of course. Right? Okay. Want to be liberated from samsara? Yeah. Me too. Of course, just words, right? So these Shravakas and Prateka Buddhas, what do they do? So Nagarjuna says, even if, okay, now they're thinking, I must attain, liberation from samsara, just that. Now Nagarjuna says, even if their hair or clothes were to catch on fire, so, yeah, look, the hair or clothes, they catch on fire. Okay? Now, what will we do? Oh, give me some water. Oh, I gotta put out the fire. Right? These Shravakas, Prateka Buddhas, even their hair or clothes catch on fire, means nothing. No, I must continue with my quest for liberation. You understand? So anyway, okay? That's actually, the thing that we think, so important, right? So urgent to put out if our clothes caught on fire, we must, put out the fire. So much more urgent, so much more important is to gain liberation. Okay? Now, this is the second of the third, of the 3 ways by which we may know that meaningful. Okay? So now the third, you see, we get liberation in this life, also nice, right? But still, we're just one sentient being. Whereas really, there's numberless sentient beings. Numberless sentient beings. You understand? Like it says in the King of Prayers, like, limitless is the end of space, thus limitless are sentient beings, thus limitless are karma and afflictions. You know? May my aspirations reach be limitless as well. So now, if you can imagine, right, how much single-pointed, striving and dedication these Prateka Buddhas, Shravakas have, right? Not even putting out their clothes on fire, their hair on fire. No, there's nothing compared to the importance of them getting liberation for one sentient being, right? Now just multiply that level of urgency, that level of importance to numberless sentient beings. That becomes just totally, just mind-blowing. You understand? Mind-blowing. Hello? So, now, this is on the one hand, this is the best news ever, right? That we've received. You know? No, really. Like, can you imagine someone, would they win the lottery, right? How happy they are. There's this one contest in the US, right? Publishers Clearinghouse, right? This is contest, This is kind of sweepstakes, this prize. And then they're, you kind of mail, this is like when I was young, okay? So before internet, this. So that, you mail in like your entry form, and then if you won, they would actually come to your house, and maybe some of you have seen, they have these like big checks, right? Big checks. So, they would win like whatever, $100 million or something. The big suits. They would come to the house, knock on the door, and they would film, and they say, Bodhicitta, you've just won Publishers Clearinghouse. And they'd be like, oh my God, be crying, jumping up and down, right? And they get it all on camera, right? Okay. So can you imagine? Okay. The fact that now you just learn, you recognize you have a precious human rebirth, that it should be infinitely like winning $100 million. Okay, it's like it's like nothing, It's like doesn't even compare to the joy that you should have recognizing you have this body. Right? Actually, every day when you wake up, in the morning, you wake up and you discover, wow, I didn't die last night. There should be so much more joy. Huh? Do you wake up like that?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Wow, should be so happy. So much joy. Now, look. This is important to keep in mind, right? Of course, when we talk about our Dharma practice, there's a lot of okay, we have to collect merits, we're collecting like good, karma points that we're later going to cash in for some future happiness, right? Do you think like that? I do. Right? I'm bearing hardship now, but I know in the future I'm going to get some kind of reward. But what we're saying now, you see, forget about that. In this moment, when we truly recognize and appreciate our precious human rebirth, the joy, it should be joy right then. You know? Namjong was emphasizing this point, you know. Of course, you hear it many times. You need to meditate again and again so that it sinks into your mind. It has an effect on your mind. So, what is he saying? Actually, even this one teaching, when you understand about questioning rebirth, he says, there will be absolutely no time for depression. No time for depression. Understand? Really? Good. Wow. So that was the good news. Okay? But now we have to check. We have to check. You know, we have this most precious, more precious than all the lotteries in the world. You know, every day, every hour, every minute, every second of this life. So precious. But what have we been doing with it? Have we been really striving in the three ways to make it worthwhile? Forget about humanity. Have we been making it worthwhile for myself? Even 1 second day? Then we check. Please turn to page 27. Wait a minute. We'll do this. So 17. Okay? With behavior such as this, I shall not wear the human body again. And if this human form is not attained, there will be solely wrongdoing and no virtue. Keep going. If when I have the chance to live a wholesome life, my actions are not wholesome, then what shall I be able to do when confused by the misery of the lower realms? And if I commit no wholesome deeds there, but readily amass much wrongdoing, then for 100 million eons, I shall not even hear the words a happy life. Now let's continue. For these very reasons, the Buddha has said that it is as difficult as it is for a turtle to insert its neck into a yoke adrift upon the vast ocean, it is more difficult to attain the human state. If even by the transgression of one instant, an eon may be spent in the deepest hell, then because of the transgressions I have gathered since beginningless time, what needs mention might not go into a happy realm. Yeah. Yet, having experienced merely that rebirth in hell, I shall still not be liberated, for while it is being experienced, other wrongdoing will be extensively produced. So if, when having found leisure like this, I do not attune myself to what is wholesome, there could be no greater deception and there could be no greater folly. And if, having understood this, I still foolishly continue to be slothful, Shabira, slothful, you understand? Lazy. When when the hour of death arrives, tremendous grief will rear its head. Okay. Okay, we will stop.